Senator Rubio, it's great to have you on. Your biggest concern is that we don't run out. Where are we in terms of, I think you're quoted, we're making progress, but it'd be a terrible mistake to let the funds run out. Is that going to be taken care of?
Yeah, well, I hope so. That money, when we talk about running out, I mean, I've read some of these reports out there saying, well, none of the money's been dispersed yet. They don't understand how that money works. That money's a guarantee. And once we hit the cap, once we announce that there's no longer any money left approved by Congress for these guarantees, then we're going to have a big problem, because at that point, banks are going to stop the approvals. They're not going to issue an approval on a loan that there's no money to guarantee. And that's what it's a moving target every single day. We can't exactly predict, but you saw the number up there at 240. We're getting very close to hitting the cap on that. And we're getting very close to having to announce that we can't approve any more of these small business loans. And it's unfortunate because this program had a slow start, as expected, had some chaos around it, as expected. Understand, until April of 11 days ago, 12 days ago, no one had ever made a PPP loan in the history of the world, anywhere. And so this was a brand new program. It's now beginning to move. Disbursements are starting to happen. And to have to announce to a country that's already hurting that we have to stop doing these because of a fight in Congress is completely unacceptable.
How's that going to play out? Who's talking to whom? Where is the stumbling block? What do both sides really want?
Well, I think that ultimately, at the end of the day, there's two things at play here. The first is that Senator Schumer and Speaker Pelosi want more money for local governments and hospitals, which is not necessarily something that any of us is against per se. But I do think that there's no formula for it, and there has to be a broader discussion about how that's going to be distributed. For example, how do you distribute it to all of these different cities around the country? What is the formula you're going to use to determine how much each city is going to get? That's got to be worked through. We already know what happens with the PPP money. We know exactly what this is all about, and you can just plug it right in as an add-on. That's the big difference between what they want and what we want. It's not that anyone is saying no to them. It's that we don't know yet how exactly those funds will be distributed. There's not going to be money to guarantee new loans, and PPP will come to a halt.
Okay, we heard most of that. Some of it we had a little trouble with. Have you had any conversations about Phase 4 recently?
Well, I think everyone is wondering what Phase 4 is going to be. Is Phase 4 going to be replenishing what we've already done with some add-ons, or is Phase 4 going to be recovery? I think there's been some general talk about what recovery looks like. I think everyone is starting to acknowledge that local governments are getting hit bad. That'll be an element of it. We're going to have to plus up some of the stuff we did in Phase 3. So I think really there's a question is whether there's a 3B or a 3C, and then 4 is recovery. But it's hard to even talk about recovery until we know the extent of the damage that's being done to the economy every day.
Right. Yeah, I meant that whether there's infrastructure included in it and things like that. Do you have a strong feeling on who should make the decision on reopening the country? I guess when it's all said and done, it's just semantics, really, isn't it? Governors are going to be involved in the decision. The president's going to be involved in the decision. Do you think it's going to? You think this back and forth is going to get even worse between now and when it happens? I guess it's a very big decision for everyone to make.
Well, I think the White House and the federal government issues guidelines. Ultimately, it's going to be the governors, since it's the governors who instituted the different shutdowns in different states, depending on what states we're talking about. It's the governors that are going to make decisions about when certain activities are allowed. Obviously, it'll be tough for a governor to do that if the federal government and its experts at the CDC are advising against it. But just understand, I mean, the people who ordered these shutdowns, it was done at the state level, and that is the appropriate place where I think some of these orders will begin to be modified. But obviously, the guidance from the federal government coming from the White House is going to be very influential in that.
So if you were to vote on whether the U.S. continues to fund the WHO, if you were given that chance, what you would say yes, you would say with conditions, or you would say no?
Well, I think it's with conditions, and here's why. I think the people on the front lines at the World Health Organization, the doctors and the epidemiologists, the people deployed around the world, they do a phenomenal job. The issue there is with the leadership. This is part of a broader strategy that China has employed to politicize international organizations to further their foreign policy aims. And the WHO, unfortunately, their leadership has played into it. So there needs to be some insulation from politics at the top, and probably some changes, in my view, from the top as well. at the WHO because it was politicized and influenced in the decisions and pronouncements it made by China's pressure, by China's leverage.
And if you weren't a Republican, put on the independent hat, how do you think the administration's done in dealing with this crisis?
I think the administration has done as best as they possibly can under very difficult circumstances. The nature of crisis is they are difficult to manage. They are chaotic. They bring the unexpected. Mistakes will be made. But I certainly think everyone's working really hard. And over the last 2 months, I think they've done a really good job of managing a very difficult situation.